Hello, folks, and welcome to the Life and Breath podcast. As part of our continuing conversation with patients and their families who are impacted by lung disease, I am pleased today to bring you a conversation with Erica. Erica is someone I've known for a while, and I've known her father, Mike, who was a member of one of our pulmonary success circle support groups, patient support groups. He recently passed away from lung disease. Erica has been a true warrior. She's got some unique skill sets that I think are important to all of our members and all the folks who are impacted by lung disease. And we're going to talk about some of those things. But she's been a true warrior fighting for her father as an advocate to know more about lung disease and how to help him get the right treatments and the right things that he needed to be able to remain healthy and continue to live his life with a degree of enjoyment. And she's been a strong advocate for him. And she's brought great positive energy to discussions she's had with us and other folks in her own advocacy. So, Erica, welcome.
Hi, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for being here with us. So let's get started. People don't want to hear me talk. They want to talk. They want to hear from Erica. So, Erica, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, and about your father, Mike, and what happened with him. Just take it away.
Okay, so my name is Erica. I live in New York. I'm a mother of two adult children. My father, I work for a long-term managed care Medicaid. If anybody ever has any questions, they can forward them to you. You can forward them to me. Um,
Excellent.
and I took care of my father. My father lived with me. He had pulmonary fibrosis, which was diagnosed in 2016. He got it from serving in the military, the Navy. He was a boiler maker in the destroyer escort ships, and that's how he got it. Um, he was a mover and a shaker. He didn't sit still. He kept going and going and going. And I feel it wasn't until he received his first round of COVID vaccines that it woke the devil. And that's when we started to go downhill with our fibrosis.
Mm, mm. So, so he was very active and was he and how old was Mike when he was diagnosed in 2016?
So that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. Let's figure it out.
Well, how old was he when he passed away?
82.
82. Okay, so that's 9 years ago. So he's in his early 70s.
Correct. And it didn't, nothing kept him down. He was very involved in the American Legion right up until the state level. He was very involved in our community at all different levels, attended many functions in the schools and stuff, never missed a event or anything with my children, went out with friends, no oxygen, no nothing until the first round of the COVID shots.
Wow. Okay. So I really wish that we'd have. I knew Mike by email and by him joining one of our support groups, and I've heard from the leader in that support group what a great, enthusiastic person he was, and how he was a breath of fresh air to that group. So I really regret that I didn't get an opportunity to interview him with his military background, with his own personal journey. But so we've got the next best thing. We've got you here to talk a little bit
Listen, we
about
spent
that.
many, many times sitting and talking together. You know, my dad was never a negative person, always
Right.
positive, always something good. And we spent many times talking about you, trying to figure out how the heck does he do this stuff? We were out in the yard many times to take a stroll down the driveway. We'd get halfway and he'd be like, how does Lee do this? I'm like, I don't know, but keep going.
That's terrific. Well, I'm glad I set some example for him in that. But it's not easy. This morning I was out on my early morning walk with my dogs, and it was like there's this last hill I've got, and there's like 12 mailboxes I got to get past, and I try to make as many as I can. And this morning I was looking at, okay, let's get to the eighth mailbox. Just make the eighth mailbox. Yeah,
Yes,
that's what life is like sometimes.
one
Just
at a time.
yeah, that's right. Exactly. So, how did you uh, get involved in Mike's journey early on? What was your role?
My dad and I are besties. We're besties.
Right.
What he did, I did. I lost my mom she was very young. She was 57 years old and she passed away from emphysema and kidney cancer. So I've been surrounded kind of sort of by lung issues and lung diseases my whole life. And I took care of my mom. And so my dad, when my mom passed away, they had a big house. So we moved into the house with my family, and my dad just stayed with us, and we all lived together always. So what
That's
he did, I
beautiful.
did. What I did, he did. We just had a relationship like that.
That's beautiful.
And
That's so cool because so many countries, and not America, but so many countries that I've visited in my life, where in India and in Africa, places like that, where the elders, they have several generations living under one roof or in one small enclave. And that's a beautiful thing. In America, I moved away from Florida, where there are a lot of lonely people who are in Florida who
if
are,
I could take them all in, I would.
yeah.
I would take them all in.
They're dying and living in assisted living facilities and hospice cares. I was a volunteer with hospice, and it was like it's sad to see the loneliness there. So you provided that support. That's just beautiful to be able to do that for your parent. That's super.
It is it was a joint family effort. My kids, my husband, we all did it. We all took care of my father. If one couldn't do, the next did.
Right, right. When did he begin to seriously decline where he couldn't go and do the things that he was accustomed to doing?
I want to say after his 80th birthday.
Okay.
I really think that with my dad, it was the fact that he felt ill-informed about his disease.
Hmm.
When he first got diagnosed with his disease, the pulmonologist that he had told him he had the IPF.
Hmm.
And the next day, we had a knock on the door, and there was oxygen delivery.
Wow.
We didn't know why. We didn't know how come. We didn't know what it was for, anything. So dad felt okay. He called up the oxygen company. He's like, take this back. I don't want it. I don't need it. So they did. And then, the medicines and everything came out, just the two of the medications. And the pulmonologist never put him on the medications, and he couldn't understand why. And I had said to him, well, it's time to change. You don't feel comfortable. You feel ill informed. Let's find someone else.
Okay.
So at that particular point, I also had a second job. I worked at Home Depot, and one of my customers is a representative for Lincare, the
Okay.
oxygen company.
Oh yeah.
So I talked to her. She gave me a list of pulmonologists and stuff like that, and we sought out one of those pulmonologists.
I see. So the absence of information was a problem, and it's one that we see a lot. It's not the fault of of the medical community. So, I mean, there are doctors who have great bedside manner, patient manner, and some are a little not quite as good, but they got 10 minutes to spend with you, maximum in most cases, and it's so hard. I tell people to be prepared with questions and everything, but don't expect the doctor to be able to answer all your questions. And it's really difficult. I talked to so many people who are frustrated because the doctor was in and out. They call that diagnose and adios. And
Yes, yes,
and
it's true. It's true. But
uh,
then with this doctor we had, dad wasn't feeling good. He'd call, he this, he that. There was no changes on his lung scan or anything, the pulmonologist that we had. And he's like, Mike, I don't know what to tell you. You're at the end stage of pulmonary fibrosis. I don't know what to tell you. My father's like, well, I'm not accepting that as an answer. That's not a good enough answer for me. You need to
right.
tell me more. He's like, the lung scans and everything haven't changed. So what do you mean I'm at the end? So the girls from pulmonary rehab gave him the name of another pulmonologist. So we started to see the new pulmonologist, which she absolutely positively loved. Patient, kind. We would take 45 minutes to an hour in her office, and she'd answer every single question.
Oh, that's awesome. Terrific.
And we
Wow.
started with palliative care. Um, Palliative care, I will tell you, being in the medical business myself, I said to my father when he first told me, I'm like, get out of here. Absolutely not. I said, palliative care is like hospice. He's like, no, it's not. I'm like, yes, it is. He's like, no, it's not. So I canceled the appointment. I spoke to the girls at pulmonary rehab, and I'm like, guys, because they were like family at this point because he was going for such a long time. And they're like, Erica, just try it. Just go. I'm like, all right, I'll try it. I took him. My father absolutely adored the palliative care doctor. She gave us her cell phone number. She was there at all given times.
Wow. That's terrific.
Wonderful.
That's
Actually,
terrific.
when he was in the hospital, his death was not no one was prepared for it. It was totally unexpected. I He died in November, and I had to wait till the holidays were over, and I went back to the office because I had them all like nice little gifts and stuff just to show appreciation. She's like, Erica, I want to tell you, I heard the call in the hospital because they're connected. She goes, I had an office full of people. I left. She's like, I
Wow.
left them and went to your father.
Wow.
She's like, meant that much to me. He made such an impact on me. I
That's
left.
terrific.
She goes, and then when I went there, she goes, I got there, and the girls from Pulmonary Rehab were there because they said the
Wow.
same thing.
Wow.
And this is
Mm,
one thing that does upset me with the whole thing is he passed away without me. We
yeah.
did everything together, but this he had to do alone. But thank God the doctor and the girls from Pulmonary Rehab were like our family, were there with him. So I was okay and at peace with that.
Wow. That's what you just said is huge. It's so powerful that you did everything together, but this he had to do alone.
Right. And that
You
it
know,
made me
that's
mad.
beautiful. That's
It
beautiful.
made me mad. But after thinking about it,
Right. You know, we may be surrounded when we come into this world by doctors and a mother and a father, and we are born, but coming through that birth canal is a only one person gets through there. And when it's time for us to leave this earth, it's that last breath, you know?
Lee, you sound just like him. He's like, he was very real. He's like, I was born alone and I'm going to die alone. When my
Right.
number's up, I'm
Right.
going. And my
That's
daughter is
right.
a social worker. So they had many conversations themselves.
That's
And she's
beautiful.
like, Mom, Pop's ready. He's not afraid. He said his time's coming soon.
Right. Right.
And I think that the last year or so, I think with him, it was more a mental game than a physical game. And I
Right.
think the mental game won,
Mm,
being afraid of not being able to breathe,
right.
being afraid of not being able to do for himself. Because as I said, he was very, very self sufficient.
Right.
So the fact that he needed help now with almost everything, I think bothered him. He was one who didn't believe in anxiety and panic, but when we would go to the palliative care doctor, he's like, I think we need to up this medication. It's just not working right. She had him up to 150 milligrams of Zoloft. And
Oh, okay.
she said to him, from somebody who didn't believe in this, you and he's like, yeah, let's just try it. Let's just try it.
Uh, well, you know, better living through chemistry sometimes, right? We've
Yeah.
heard that. That's gosh, this is just so much great information there. Your daughter is a social worker, talking to him about stages of death and things like that. You know, having been around that so much in my work as hospice, it's just so vital. It's something I've taken on to follow myself. And even I have a meditation. It's a Buddhist style meditation, meditation on one's death, and what that moment will be like. It's a beautiful thing. It shouldn't be feared, but and I'm not fearful of it. But hearing that you know his, I can also echo that you know, we can be ready, but what I am not ready for, I live alone with two dogs, is um, is not being able to care for myself. Right now, I can use an oxygen concentrator, strap on an oxygen tank on my back, go to the gym,
But
go out,
remember,
go
you were
do
at
things.
that point once before almost.
I was. When I began this
Yeah.
journey, I let myself decline because I did nothing. I accepted my diagnosis, didn't know much about it, wasn't connected to anyone. I lived alone, and I sat there and prepared to die. And it was a miserable time. And when I turned that corner and I connected with other people in our success circle, our small groups, I began to feel a rejuvenated spirit and a desire to get better, to do more, and the mental part began to take over, so that I kind of returned to some of my own experience with doing hard things. But now that I've gotten to that point that I can do pretty much anything I want to do, as long as I
That's
got an
right.
oxygen tank. It's also it's scary to think about the day that comes when I can't, and and I can relate to that. You don't even want to go there. I've got some
There's no need
very
to go there right now.
yeah, well, that's right. And I've made the decisions on all my uh, last information for hospitals and so forth of do not resuscitate, no intubation. And because
I
I don't want to go through, I've known people and I've had dear friends who lie in a hospital bed in intensive care for weeks and weeks, just suffering,
Yep.
connected to all sorts of machines, and then passed away. And it was hard for the family. Not how I want to go, but Mike, you said Mike went sort of suddenly. It was kind of quick for him.
Yes, I'll tell
Isn't
you
that the
what,
way he wanted to go?
he never said how.
All right.
He just said he never wanted to suffer. So
Yeah.
according to the nurses and everything, he didn't suffer. Actually, my brother had breakfast with him that morning.
Wow.
And I
Wow.
got the call and he's like, you need to come over Friday night in the hospital. When you speak about do not resuscitate, he had to do a DNR too.
Okay.
Wonderful. He placed me as the healthcare proxy.
Uh-huh.
Um, so we were in the ER Friday night, that Friday, and I'm outside speaking to the doctor who also happened to be a vet. So he was, connected with my dad that way. And he's like, do you guys have a healthcare proxy or anything like that? My father heard him, took off the oxygen mask, and yelled through the whole entire ER, yes, it's a do not resuscitate, no machines.
Right. There you go.
And then put the oxygen mask back on. He's like, well, I guess I got the orders. I said, yeah, straight from the horse's mouth, you got
There you
them.
go. Beautiful. Beautiful.
So, yeah, it was very unexpected. He had breakfast with my brother. And then an hour or so later, I got the call. By the
So
time the hospital's like 30 minutes away, by the time I got there, that was it.
wow.
We got to watch Gonzaga beat Arizona State. That was the most important because they were undefeated.
That's great. That's great. So, you and your father, you were very active and involved. I remember when you reached out to us with Pulmonary Success Circles to get him connected to a group,
Yes.
and you were very active with him. How did you walk that balance of being beside him but not being overly protective and allowing him, not allowing him to making him feel even more like an invalid by, I've known people who really they don't want to be asked how, me personally, someone looks at me and sees this cannula, they say, well, how you doing, Lee? You okay? I'm like, I'm fine, damn it. You know, I don't want to be,
He would
I don't want
say,
sympathy.
I'm fine. I just need a new pair of lungs.
Yeah, there you go.
Or he'd say sympathy's in the dictionary between shit and syphilis. I don't need it.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that.
It was if I was going overboard, my father would let me know. And there were times I would want to protect him and stuff like that. But as I said to you, he was so self-sufficient
Right.
that I knew if I treated him such as an invalid,
Uh-huh.
I was going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
I still got yelled at and I
Right.
still got, from my dad. So
Right.
I was still afraid of my dad at 55 years old. There you go. So,
There you go. All right.
yeah, I knew, take a step back. He could do for himself. If he couldn't
That's
do it, he'd
beautiful.
let me know. And then I just pick up the slack.
That's beautiful. So when we guys put back to a question on palliative care, you as a Medicare specialist understand that very well. So tell the audience, please, a little about what palliative care meant. It's not like going into a hospital and planning to die anytime now. It
No,
was tell us
absolutely
a
not.
little bit about what that meant for Mike.
Palliative care, as I said, I thought was hospice, but I
Right?
learned myself that it was not. Palliative care is an amazing, amazing service that is there for people who do have end stage diseases. It's a place where my father went, and I actually would leave the room so my father could talk to the doctor freely and say the things that he wanted to say and that maybe were bothering him. She listened. She helped him with medications. Actually, if it wasn't for his palliative care doctor, she took him off his blood pressure medicine because his heart rate and stuff was down. In May of this year, my dad did get the TAVR procedure, which is a heart valve replacement. He got that at Columbia Presbyterian, which is a center for excellence. And he had it, actually, he was just twilight. He was awake
Wow.
when they
Huh.
had it done. It said it sounded like a frat party, everybody in the operating room and everything. He's like, I was wondering when they were breaking out the keg. um, so yeah, palliative care is just a place where the patient can go and listen. I mean, and speak, be heard, and the doctor goes above and beyond to make that patient feel comfortable with their illness and the things, and it gives them the tools to use to make themselves comfortable during this process.
That's
Like
beautiful.
she had said to us, she had said to me, now's the time to start traveling if you want to do it. So what we did, my husband took a what is that thing you put it in the, it went in the car. He hooked it up to the car, and it was like an electrical outlet.
Portable concentrator?
It wasn't the concentrator. It would be something that the concentrator could go in.
Oh, okay.
Like,
So it's like a converter.
oh yeah, that's it. That's it. We hooked up a converter to his truck. So we were able to put the concentrator in the truck, plug it in, and go do what we needed to do, go places, do
Beautiful.
things and stuff like that. So we
Beautiful.
wouldn't
And
waste
not
the
be
oxygen.
dependent on, not be worried about running out of a tank. You had the
Correct.
electricity. That's beautiful. Okay.
Correct.
So you went mobile then. That's good stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Hmm.
But I would
So
highly recommend palliative care to anybody. Don't be afraid.
at
Don't be
what
afraid. It's good for the patient and the family.
at what point is and how long ago was it in Mike, and what was the point that they recommended it? What point do you believe it was best for him to begin to receive palliative care?
Again, he was full minded, so I let him decide on his own care on his own. I would say we started in January of this year, and
Okay.
he wanted to go. He's like, "Hey, let's go. Let's try it out. Let's see what it's all about." I said,
Right.
"All right, let's go." So we
Right.
went.
Right. So you also with Medicare, and you mentioned something earlier about your experience with oxygen supplementation and that sort of thing. And um, most of the folks I work with and are in my groups, most of us have some level of reliance on oxygen. Um, one of the things that I find horrendous, and I get so many questions on different Facebook groups about it, is people just don't know what they can do or what they can have with oxygen. And oftentimes they're very restricted to being at home because they don't know that they can get tanks, or they don't know what size tanks or how long they last. So
We went through the same thing, Lee. That was a big issue with my dad too. He's like, I have these machines. People are telling me, I have them tanks. Go, do. He's like, well, how long is this tank gonna last? Until I have to switch to the big one. When do I have? I said, Dad, it's all trial and error on your part. We have to keep track of what you're going through, how many liters, how long does this last, and then we have to apply.
that's good. That's good. It is. It's kind of the wilderness. A doctor can't sit there and say, okay,
No,
here's what you need. There's no specific prescription, but absent someone like you that helps the patient figure that out, or being a member of a group where we talk about it on a regular basis, weekly, we'll come up with something about use of oxygen when we exercise or whatever, or a good pulmonary rehab person. Absent those things, people are often in the dark trying to navigate those dark places without assistance. So that's great that you guys had that. Um,
and I think, like you said, a good pulmonary rehab. I think everybody should get involved with the pulmonary rehab.
Good.
And
Yes.
like you said, if you have a great staff, they give you exorbitant amount of information and
Right.
techniques and things like that to use.
Yes. Absolutely. So did Mike go to pulmonary rehab?
Absolutely, 100%. We went to pulmonary rehab at Phelps Memorial Hospital in Sleepy Hollow, New York, and I am still in contact with the team. I go over once a month to see some of the people that are there. If they're caregivers or anything, need to talk or do anything or, whatever, I go. I go see the palliative care doctor as well.
So, Erica, there are people who are going to watch this and they're going to have questions about things. And lots of the questions I might not be able to answer. If they channel their questions through me, as well as if they ask these questions on our YouTube channel, if they want to put the questions, in fact, I'll use this as a reminder that right now, uh, if you're enjoying this video, first of all, give us a thumbs up, a like button, and that helps us and you to be able to see more videos like this. And also subscribe to the channel. Okay. And then the last thing that you can do is in the comments section, you can put in your comments what you liked about it, any questions you may have, what you'd like to see more of in the future, because we read all your comments. And if you want to see a specific session on use of oxygen, something like, or palliative care, we can bring Erica back for a round of palliative care
I can even
discussion.
get the doctor, would be more than happy
Oh,
to
that'd
do
be
this with
terrific.
you.
That would be terrific. In fact, I'd
She
like to
absolutely can.
put that on our list of things to do. Let's arrange for a similar interview to this. Maybe you and I both with the doctor. Let's do a three-way conversation at some point in the future for people. So subscribe to this, and you'll get an update when these things come out. But in the meantime, if you've got a question, ask the question in the comments, and I'll channel those questions to Erica. Or if Erica's following the comments, she's welcome to just answer the questions directly in the comments on the YouTube channel. So that's terrific.
And Lee, before I forget, I wanted to let you know that I know a lot of people don't know this, and I know a lot of people sometimes with their medications and stuff that they get prescribed, they can't afford them, or
mm,
what the insurance covers is not always affordable, and the copay is huge. Each manufacturer of their medications, the manufacturer of the medication has what's called an indigent patient program.
mm.
And if you apply for that and get on their program, you get the medication for free.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Well, there may be more questions people have on that. It's pretty clear and self-explanatory though. And yeah, that's good. So as we kind of wrap this up right now, what are the top two bits of wisdom that you'd like to pass along to people who may be caregivers? Because this is going to be oriented toward caregivers, but you're welcome to give it out for patients too. So what are a couple of things you
Patients,
want people,
you
patients
need
or
to have
caregivers?
patience.
Well, oh, patients.
Everybody needs to have patience because we know how slim they
Patients with
are.
a CE rather than a T.
Yeah.
All right,
Yes.
there you go.
Yes.
All right,
Understanding.
patience and
And you just
understanding.
have to keep reaching and reaching and reaching for all the knowledge and information and support you can get. The people from my dad's support group, like he had indigent batteries here because he was no longer using the POC, and I put them online to sell in one of the groups. So we became in contact with the gentleman there, and we sent them to him, and they were the wrong batteries. So me, because I talked to everybody, um, became friendly with them, and then Dad became friendly with them. And him and my dad, I invited him to the group. I talked to Sue, asked him if he could come to the group. He is now part of the group with Sue, and he's wonderful, wonderful person. He was actually the last person that spoke to my dad before he passed.
Wow, wow,
Yeah,
that's amazing.
my dad
Beautiful
called him
story.
his Bible bumping friend from Texas.
Is Bible thumping friend from Texas?
Yes.
That's cool. That's very
Yeah.
cool. Huh. Well, this has been excellent. I tell you what, this is one of the best podcasts of interviewing someone, both from a patient and a caregiver perspective that I've ever done. You've got a lot more to give,
We
and
do, Lee. I can help with the Medicare and the Medicaid stuff and things like that too.
as well as veterans. Real quickly, you mentioned as a veteran what all of you he was able to get through the VA for Mike. Run through that list. That was amazing
So
stuff.
my dad, as I said, he got this IPF through the military, and he was 100% disabled through them. With their help, we were able to, through a grant, get our bathroom made handicap accessible. It's called a HISA grant. We got a scooter from them. We got a lift for the car from them. We got a ramp for the house for them. And we got all of his oxygen supplies and stuff. If you ever, like, we have 4 concentrators, not 1, not 2, 4. Two that go to what, 5 or 6, and the other 2 that go to 10.
Good. Wow.
And all the supplies and stuff.
Good gracious.
We were able to get that through them. Like, I don't know if you saw, one of the people in the pulmonary fibrosis group had his house burned down.
I did not see that.
And he lost Rick Clark, and he lost everything.
Wow.
So he was asking for a concentrate, Michigan.
That's great. That's wonderful.
Pass the wealth, you know?
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
So,
That's terrific information. Well, I appreciate what you've done here with us. I've got to as we close, one thing I need to pass along to everyone is sort of a little medical disclaimer that we all are encouraged to add, and that's that the information that we provided in this video is for general information and educational purposes only. It's not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease, nor should it be considered as a substitute for professional advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the guidance of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding your health or medical condition. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you heard me say in this video. Furthermore, there's no commercial affiliation in Life and Breath or with me with any product or service that I ever mentioned in this video. I did write a book about my recovery. However, the information contained in my book is available for free in the various presentations and videos I've made public on this channel. And if you'd like a copy of my book, but you can't afford it, send me an email and I'll send you a free copy of the book. We appreciate you being here with us today. I deeply appreciate the time you've given us and all the great information you've given us today, Erica.
anytime, I'm more than happy.
You'll be back. I hope we'll be back with more information for everybody. So thanks so much, everyone. And we're signing off now.